This morning we're talking to Kendall Aitken, who is a health and happiness coach. Would you say you are happy, Kendall?
Yeah, I mean, I practice this and have done for many years now, and it's not as if you happiness isn't a thing which is a level, like a button you press. It's a flexible scale which I would place anywhere between calm and ecstatic. So it's not as if I don't dip down underneath calm sometimes and I go into sadness or anger, but the patterns of behaviour mean that I go there for a very short period of time because I know how to bring myself back out and back into that positive space. So essentially, I'm 99% of the time a happy person. That's not to say that there aren't times when I don't feel so happy.
Because I suppose it is a very inward thing, happiness,
Exactly.
the feeling of happiness, and
Exactly.
and often you can allow other people to make you unhappy, and it's sort of you telling yourself, oh, they make it, because people have said this to me before where I said, oh, that really made me angry, and I'll say, well, you're allowing them to make you angry.
Exactly.
They're not making you angry, you're allowing them to. How do you actually bring yourself back when you say you dip into that sadness? How do you pull yourself out? Is it possible for somebody who's not a specialist to do that?
Very much so. I mean, come and see me and then I'll work through with you how to do it. But I am a big fan of giving away all the information, because to me it's really about wanting to live in a happier society. It's something I do for myself, and I've seen how much it works. It's not just me. There's lots of people around me who have also learnt how to do this. My partner does this fantastically well. The essential thing I would say to people who find that they are going down into deeper areas of unhappiness is what I would call meditation, but essentially could be called mindfulness. It's essentially stopping what I would call the spiral of thinking. So the spiral of thinking is critical thoughts. And what often happens is we're very critical at ourselves. So there's a thing in addiction which is called the circle of shame. Now this kind of acts like a spiral. It's when somebody feels like they're, I almost wanted to swear then.
Thank you for not.
Feels like they're rubbish because of something they've just done. So they didn't take their child on their birthday because they forgot, or they just weren't together enough to do it. They feel so uncomfortable in themselves for having done that they take some drugs. They then feel terrible a bit later on for having taken the drugs because they're now more in debt than they were before, and they've still neglected their child even more. So the circle comes round that they then feel rubbish about themselves again. They then take drugs again. The circle of shame keeps on spinning. And we do this, a lot of us do this with our thinking without taking the drugs. In fact, you'd be amazed how prevalent drugs are in our society, because of course alcohol's a drug, tobacco's a drug. We like to think that they're not because they're legalised, but essentially...
In a way, food is as well. I think people use that as a punishment for themselves,
Very much. Food can be. And what we do is we tend to catch ourselves in this circle, and this circle can draw us down and down and down. Now, one of the ways to stop that is this catching your thoughts. So I call it meditation. You can do it however you want. It's essentially sitting still and saying, I can see what I'm thinking to myself. I can see the thoughts and I can hear the critical thoughts. So this is something people could practice right now if they wanted, if they weren't feeling that good. They can sit down, feel comfortable, close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, and see what thoughts you're thinking. The aim of this is to get to a neutral space.
Now that sounds a bit odd, really. See what thoughts you're thinking. What do you mean? So is this an almost out-of-body thing where you're kind of outside of yourself looking in? Is it that sort of thing?
Well, they do call it sometimes the witnessing yourself. And the aim of the meditation is to get back to a neutrality, is to get back to saying, okay, I see the thoughts and I'm going to allow them to come, and I'm going to calm myself. I'm going to I'm going to see them and allow them to go. I'm going to see them and allow them to go. And after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it can take however long, you can get to a place where you're saying, I'm choosing to not really think about anything, to just be with the silence, be with myself. At that point, you'll notice that you're no longer feeling rubbish. You're no longer, because essentially, when we feel emotions, it's because they're linked to thoughts. When you stop the thoughts as much as you can, it's very difficult to get zero thoughts, but that's what people essentially are doing when they're meditating, is getting down to pretty much zero thoughts. And it's a very calm place to be. Once you return to that calm, you can begin rebuilding your thoughts in a very conscious, positive way. And as I say, the essential direction for that is appreciation. So what you do once you've got to that place of calmness is you start going, okay, let me look around me. Let me just find one thing to start with that I can find appreciation in. So you look around the room, there's a picture of your child. He goes, oh, I'm so pleased I had a child. You know, that thought. Or, oh, look, the sun's just come out and I love the warmth of the sun. There's something that I can just hold on to. And then you start playing a game. It's a practice, it's a game. And you start finding more, And the more you practice, and you might then have your old thoughts coming back in, going, yeah, but you're still rubbish. And you go, well, I notice you thought, thank you very much, but I'm choosing not to have you in my space right now. I'm choosing happiness. I'm choosing the appreciation spin, if you like, because I recognize that I'm in control over my life and not the world is in control of how I feel.
Absolutely. I like that.